Hello, and welcome to another episode of Question and Answer. I'm Kristen,
And I'm Jessie.
and we are back for part two of our Lightning Lane question and answer show. We
Yeah,
normal
sure.
show.
Let's go with that.
Yeah, sure. Uh, Last episode we had already tried Lightning Lane in Animal Kingdom, and that's arguably the least busy park. And then this
Oh,
week
yeah.
we went to Magic Kingdom and we tried it, arguably the most busy park, and it was
Busy,
different experience. So
for
we
sure.
asked for more questions on social media, and we asked our agents if our travelers had any more questions, and we got another dozen or so questions. And so we're going to dive into them now. And we'll also just
Yeah.
kind of tell you a little bit of the differences that we observed when you're doing it at a less busy park as opposed to a busy park, and some of the
Yeah,
things
because
to
there were
look
definitely
out
some
for.
major differences and then there were some minor differences. So it was really fun to experience that too.
Yeah, for sure.
All right,
All
want to
right,
dive right
Jesse.
into the first question?
Yeah.
All right, first question. Can you book two tier ones at once? Or can you get one tier one as your second choice if you already have one booked? So a tier one, again, we kind of talked about this in the last episode. There are a couple different tiers on multi-pass Lightning Lane. So in the tier one at Magic Kingdom, it's Jungle Cruise, Thunder Mountain, Tiana's Bayou Adventure, Space Mountain, and is there a fifth one?
Is Tiana's a tier one or is it a tier two?
Tiana's is a tier one.
I thought it was a tier two for some reason.
100% is a tier one because I messed with it
You
quite
were
a bit.
messing with it, yeah. That makes sense.
Yeah,
By the
yeah,
way.
yeah.
Yeah.
I think there was one more in a tier one. I think there was 5 in there at Magic, but
Yes. I don't remember what they were.
I don't remember the fifth one. But either way, Tiana's is in there. But that's going to be your tier ones. So in order to have those tier ones, so when you first book, you get one tier one and one tier or two tier twos. Two tier twos.
Tier twos.
Two tier twos. We did discover that after you use your first one, it doesn't matter which tier it was in, you can grab a second tier one. So that was really cool. You could have two tier ones in your 3 selection after you use your first one.
Right. So off the bat, no, you can't.
Yeah.
You're stuck with like the 1 from tier 1, the 2 from
Correct.
tier 2, or 3 from tier 2.
Mm-hmm.
But after you scan in that first one, yeah, then that kind of goes out the window and you have the entire park to choose from, the entire list, all of them. So,
Yeah.
yeah, that's helpful. Okay, question number 2. Do you think because people are booking prior to their visit, it's making last minute availability decrease? So, before I answer that, yes, we did definitely see availability in the morning of and the days leading up to, because remember, we're annual pass holders, so we didn't have 7 days out, we had 3 days.
Yeah.
So we did it on that third day, and the single pass were already gone, Tiana's was already gone. I think that was pretty much it that was gone, though. It was just the 2 single were gone, and I think it was just Tiana's that was gone in the tier 1.
And day one, I mean, when it comes to booking, on the actual day of, we did notice on the day of a lot more were taken, which makes perfect sense because people are buying it the day before, the day of.
Yeah, like 7 days. And remember, when you can book 7 days out, it's 7 days for the entire length of your trip. So if you have a week trip, you are basically booking 2 weeks out. So that does really give you, first dibs at some of these more popular rides. So yeah, we definitely noticed at Magic Kingdom there was a lot less availability, and then as the day went on, it got even more and more scarce. So
yeah, and this is trialing it during summer too. So I know people think summer is super busy, but it's really not. It's hot down here, so people typically don't book their trip all in summer. They'll book like a mini trip during summer. So we didn't find the park terribly busy. It was busy because kids are off of school, but I didn't think it was overly crowded. Now, when it comes to like October, November, December, I can really see these rides being like completely gone by noon.
Yeah. I think they're going to have to do something because
I think that's going to be a problem come busy season. Cause with the amount of, the slowness during summer this year and the amount of lightning lanes that were actually available to us on, like, it was a random day in the middle of the week. Can't
Yeah.
even imagine how it is on a weekend.
Yeah. I think by the
That's
time that
rough.
kind of busy season rolls around, they're going to have to kind of evaluate. Because right now,
Yeah.
keep in mind, there's no character meet and greets on the multi-pass system. They're not there. The infrastructure is there because they used to be on Genie Plus, they used to be on FastPass, but now they're not. So especially in Magic Kingdom, where there are a lot of character meet and greets, to not have that be part of the pool of things
Yeah.
that you can choose from really meant that the things that were there were booking up, were being taken. So they need to do something to widen that pool and disperse those crowds so things aren't.
Yeah. That was a really big miss. We really found that at Magic Kingdom, you really do need those character meet and greets on there.
There's so many
Specifically
at
Magic
Magic.
Kingdom. I mean, you have Mickey Mouse and the princesses, people that used to be on Genie Plus and
Right.
FastPass are no longer on Lightning Lane. And they still have the Lightning Lane signs. They still have the queue. Why are they not in there? So that's kind
Yeah.
of what we're curious about. Disney never released why they weren't in there.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't know. But that's a later discussion. I know that question's in here too. I'm sure we'll get to it. Question number 3. Can I get multi-pass lightning lanes for all 7 of us and single pass lightning lanes for only 4 of us in the same transaction? So, yeah, that's the problem. They don't let you choose different people
On that first
on the first screen.
screen.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So you'd have to get those 7 multi-lanes, skip the single pass, and then I guess go back in and get single pass.
I would actually say probably do the single pass first, because those
Oh,
are
yeah,
going
you
to
can do
go,
that.
like, there's a little bit more
Yeah.
of a urgency on that one. So I would say get the single pass for your 4 first,
Yeah.
pay for it, you're done. And then I would go back in and select multi-pass for all 7 of your party. I mean, you're going to probably have an issue with, like, overlapping maybe. I know, again, some people are saying that it's, like, not giving you times for when you have other, again, we didn't experience that. Even, we'll get into that, even at Magic Kingdom, we didn't.
Yeah. We
But
also
I think
didn't get a chance to get any single passes because they were gone by the time we got our multi passes. So we
right.
weren't able to test that. We do want to still try it at the other 2 parks. So we still want to try it at Hollywood Studios and Epcot just to see if it's any different than, we tried the slower park and then the busiest park. So
Yeah.
we really want to see if that makes a difference, but we weren't able to get single passes because they were out so quick.
Yeah.
So
Yeah. So it's going to have to be 2 separate transactions as of right now.
Yeah.
That I think is a flaw that they might address in the future, depending, but I don't know how they would with the current kind of infrastructure of it. So we'll see how that plays out.
Yeah.
Okay, next one. If you're going for a full week, how many days do you recommend we buy Lightning Lane? That really depends on you,
what you want to ride,
your budget, the time of year, the crowds. Only you really know. It depends on your family.
Yeah.
It really depends. I would say Magic Kingdom, because there's so much to do and those waits can get very long, that if it is in your budget,
Yeah.
and it is kind of one of those busier times of year, then maybe splurge on it for that day of your trip.
I would also say, like, if Star Wars is important to you, I would say Hollywood Studios or even Toy Story, because Slinky Dog was selling out really fast too. So Magic Kingdom and Hollywood Studios are definitely going to be those 2 trickier parks, where Epcot and Animal Kingdom are going to be a little bit easier.
Yeah.
Epcot, when it comes to Frozen, that is your most loved attraction over there. That's going to sell out the quickest. Other than that, I mean,
Ratatouille, I think, was going kind of quick.
Yeah, I was gonna say the line for Frozen isn't usually terrible. It again depends on the time of year, depends on how little your kids are, and if you can wait in that line. So,
or if you have my child who doesn't like that, she's the only little girl I know on the whole planet that's like, no, I'm not riding that.
I love Frozen. I think it's so cute. It's one of my favorites, honestly. All right, question number 5. How easy is it to switch Lightning Lane in the morning to get an earlier time? We found it relatively easy.
Yeah.
I mean, even at Magic Kingdom when it was busy, we were able to get an earlier time for, was it Jungle Cruise?
Yeah, I
One of
think
those.
so. So yeah, we had
And
one of them was
Pirates.
like not late in the day, but it was like 6 o'clock or something.
Yeah.
Um, and then that morning, after I woke up, and I did not get like I didn't do it first thing in the morning because I
We
had
woke
kids
up
that
leisurely.
needed my attention.
Yeah.
So when I finally got to it and I looked to see if I could move that one earlier, if there was any that I could kind of mess around with, I was able to do that. I was able to move a couple of them. And some of
Yeah.
them I was
And
able to
it's,
move that I didn't wind up moving because I knew I wasn't going to be there in time. So I think one of them
yeah,
came up, it was like 10 o'clock, and it was like, oh, you could get on Pirates at 11 and instead of 12:30, 1 o'clock. And I was like,
something.
oh, great,
Yeah.
but I'm not going to be there
Not that
in a
early,
half
no.
hour. So
Yeah. And
never
that's the thing.
mind.
I didn't find it overly hard to kind of move them or shift them around just depending on your availability for that day. That was relatively easy, just depending again on what ride that you were trying to get.
Yeah.
Where like our Haunted Mansion, we weren't moving that one.
Yeah.
Haunted Mansion was one of those harder rides to kind of, move around, where
Yeah.
Pirates and Jungle Cruise seemed to be a little bit easier. And it was about within like a 2 hour window. Sometimes it was
Right.
like, oh, okay, like she said with Pirates, it was at like 12 o'clock and they let us move it to like 10, which we didn't do, but it was available. And then like with Jungle Cruise, it was, a 10-minute shift. So it could kind of vary,
Yeah.
but it
And
really
later in the
wasn't.
day, it did get harder later in the day.
It did. By like
But the
3,
morning
4
was
o'clock.
fine.
Yeah,
Yeah.
the morning was fine. But yeah, around 3, 4 o'clock, it definitely got harder. There were available times later in the day, 7, 8, 9 o'clock. Those were all available, but Kristen and I, we were not staying that late. We were like, nope, we're going to go home. It's 5 o'clock,
It
6
was
o'clock. We're done.
94 degrees out and
It was hot. It was,
it was hot.
it was brutal. We were sweat dripping down our back, brutal. Oof.
Yeah, it was not enjoyable there for a little while.
Yeah. We had fun.
Next
It was
question.
great.
Yeah. How did availability look as the day went on? Similar to DAC or different? We kind of touched on this. It was
Yeah,
it was different. DAC, we were
definitely different.
noticing, remember DAC doesn't have that tier 1, tier 2 business either. So DAC pretty
Nope.
much everything was there. They close earlier, so that was kind of the only issue with getting later ones is that the park is just not open. Magic
Yeah,
Kingdom, like
closed at
Jessie
6.
said, 3 o'clock, 3:30 by 4 things were like that was
Yeah.
that. I mean, there were some like very later ones. I think we were able to get like Buzz Lightyear for 7:30 around that
Yeah.
time. Um, some things were, but yeah, I mean that you could see like one by one they were getting filled up and they were going starting at around 3. So,
Yeah.
again, it
Yeah.
depends on what's
DAC was
going on.
definitely easier. Animal
Yeah.
Kingdom, by far, we were able to kind of mess with it, change our times around, really get to
Mhm.
learn the system. So that was really nice. If you are, again, I know we said this in our last one, but if you are worried about learning this new system, first of all, reach out to us and any of our agents. We will happily help you. But if you want to learn the system and not be stressed about like a Magic Kingdom day, go to
Yeah,
Animal Kingdom first,
and
play
do
with
it
it
there.
over there, so you kind of have an idea of what you're going to expect at some of those busier parks, because
Yeah.
it is harder at the busier parks, that's for sure. So
Yeah, for sure.
let's see, number 7, can I theoretically have a virtual queue, 2 single lightning lanes, and 3 multi-passes? Yeah, you absolutely can.
Yeah.
So again, we were not able to grab any of those singles. Unfortunately, they were all just sold out at Magic Kingdom. But we did have 3 multi-passes, and we did have a virtual queue for Tron. We did not get on Tron because it was like at 8 o'clock, and we were
Yeah, by the
done for the
time
day.
yeah.
We were done. So we ended up leaving the park at like 6 o'clock. I actually checked my phone at 7:30 to see if we had been called yet, and we still weren't called. Even though they had told us it was about an hour and a half. We
Yeah,
didn't get
no, it
called
was
till
like
like
8
8,
o'clock.
8:30.
Yeah.
Yeah. But yes, theoretically, you can absolutely have all of those.
Yeah. So
So,
that's kind of how you would stack, because again, this system is not like Genie in the respect that you can kind of have, 4 or 5. You could do it that way with that 2-hour rule, but this is how you would do it.
yeah.
You get up, you get your virtual queue, make sure that you know 7 days before you have all the single pass you want, you know. And what we found too, which was interesting, is the Tron virtual queue didn't close until like 4 o'clock or
4 o'clock.
something. Like
Yeah.
normally with Guardians, it opens up again at 1 and then it's like done by 1:01 or
Done.
something like ridiculous. But
Yeah.
Tron, we didn't even try at 1, honestly, because we're like, there's no way. We're not that quick.
We didn't even
And
think
we
about
walked by
it.
a billboard that like one of those little electronic signs that was like Tron virtual queue is open. We're like, say what now? So we were able to get
Yeah.
one. And again, if we were on vacation, there would have been no problem to stay that late and go on it. It's
Absolutely.
just,
Yeah.
you know, we are not, you know, we had to go home. I kept saying to Jessie, I'm like, I have to make sure I gotta be home by 7 because I have to start dinner. You know, like we're not
Yeah.
on vacation. So it definitely could have been done, but
Oh
not
God,
for us.
yeah. It easily it would have. You know, we could have totally stayed, but I mean, again, we weren't there on vacation. We were having fun, but
Yes.
not on vacation
It's not
for
vacation.
work.
Yep.
Yeah. Number 8. This one I love. Have you seen Tiana's open up after it's sold out for the day? Yes, we have. That is the cool thing about when you mess with the system, new things pop up periodically throughout the day. Someone may cancel their Tianas. It'll pop up on your screen if you just happen to be looking at the exact time. Our friend Yolanda actually did that the other day. They were doing a park challenge and yep, she had Barnstormer and they messed with it and she got Tiana's like at the same time that they were looking at. So that was pretty cool. So yes, it does absolutely open. You have to keep checking.
Yeah.
You have to keep modifying. If you're one of those people that doesn't want to stare at your phone and modify all the time, you're probably not going to find it.
Yeah.
You're going to miss it. But if you have no problem going onto the system, refreshing, modifying, you can absolutely see it pop up. So keep that in mind. Bring an extra phone charger because
Or 2.
it definitely drains your battery.
Yeah. Yeah, for sure. But
by
yeah,
like,
it can be done.
oh my God. By like what, 1 o'clock? We got there at like 11:30. By like 1 o'clock, our phone batteries were at like 30%. We're
Yeah,
like,
we looked at
oh
each other.
boy.
We're like, I gotta juice up because you're on
Oh
your
boy.
phone a lot. That's that problem with this system, right? Is like you're kind of a slave to your phone, you
Yeah.
know, and like staring at your phone and kind of not taking it all in because you're like, okay, I gotta get the next one. I cut. Like we would scan in and then literally be on our phones trying to get another one, you know, and so then you're not. I mean, imagine if you're there with your family on vacation, you kind of want to spend that time. You know, your kids are a captive audience when they're in line. You want to make them talk to you, but like you're on your phone. So I don't love that about this system, but that's where we are, I guess.
Yeah, that's, you know, got to do what you got to do. Have one parent talk to the children while you're messing on your phone and then switch.
I'm also a big advocate of the original paper system. So like,
I know.
I love that. I thought that was like the first and the best iteration of all of this was just that old school paper system. And I don't know why they messed with it. So, all right. Let's see. If a guest does not want any tier 1 rides, can they book 3 tier 2s? Yes, absolutely. You don't have to. It's not going to boot you out or say, no, you have to do this one. You could grab 3 from that column. It's fine. Doesn't matter.
Here's the character one. Why aren't character meet and greets available on Multipass? I hope this changes. So do we.
Yeah, I don't know why.
We don't know.
I don't know. It's an odd choice.
They didn't release any reasons why.
Especially because, again, like in a park like Magic Kingdom, there's a lot of meet and greets. Like Jessie said, there's Mickey Mouse over there in the front. You have all of those princesses, that 2 sides of that Princess Fairy Tale Hall, whatever it's called. You have whatchamacallit in the back there of Storybook Circus. I wanted to call it Ariel for some very strange reason. Of Storybook.
Oh, yeah.
Circus back there. You have
Silly Sideshow.
Pete's Silly Sideshow. You have like 2 characters that meet there. There's another one that is not coming to my brain, but like
you have 4 characters that meet there.
So that would really help to, like I said, widen that pool and divert people to some of those, leaving some of the other ones open. So I don't know why they did that. It's a choice. I hope it changes too.
We hope it changes because it could really alleviate some of those rides.
Yeah. And the infrastructure is there. Like the signs are there. And they're still
Yeah,
probably on DAS too, right? Like I assume they're on the DAS system, so I don't know
I
what the
would
thought is there.
assume.
I really don't know.
I hope they change the DAS system too, because I've just heard so many complaints about the new system because it's harder
Yeah.
for people to get now and people that really need it. So,
Yeah, that's a whole nother
it's
episode,
rough.
I'll tell you that.
It's rough. I know.
Um,
Let's see. 11. How much time was it actually saving you using lightning lanes versus the standby queue? Is the time saved worth the cost? I think so.
yeah, I think
I
so.
think
We
it's worth the
actually
cost.
kept track of it this time. Like we kind of noted the standby time and then we were timing how long we were waiting in the line. I'll make a reel with that or we'll kind of maybe post those somewhere so you can
Yeah.
see them. But it was a weird day because it was crowded and there wasn't a lot of lightning lanes available towards the
Yeah.
end, but the waits were on the lower side. Like we walked by Buzz Lightyear at one point and we're like, oh, it's 15 minutes. Like we could have just hopped on at that point. Um,
Right.
but when we did it, everything was like 35, and we were waiting maybe 4 minutes. I
Yeah.
think the longest we waited was like 6 minutes.
I was gonna say, I think it was like 6 or 7.
6 or 7. And I think it
Yeah.
was on like Small World or something silly. Like it
Yeah.
wasn't on like
Wasn't on a
Haunted
major
Mansion or
ride.
Jungle Cruise. Like those, we pretty much, we didn't like Animal Kingdom. We walked on. We did not wait 1 second. Like it just was right into the ride, right into the pre-show. No waiting at all.
Yep.
This we did have. Like I said, it was like 4 minutes, 1-1, 5-on-1, 7-on-1. So like there was a little bit of wait. But I think yeah. I mean that's still pretty quick. So
Yeah, I think
worth
it
it.
was a big time saver for sure. I mean, especially if you have little ones, or you're trying to make a certain, dining reservation or a certain show and you're trying to squeeze in something. I really think it did help time wise. I do think it was a big time saver. And again, just depending on your party and how much money you're willing to spend.
Yeah,
I mean, it was what, $27 per person for us.
I think so.
So, I mean, it wasn't terribly expensive. It's obviously more than free,
Yeah.
but
And
I
it'll
didn't
add
think it
up
was like
quick. That's the
outrageous.
thing. Like for us to just do it, yeah, fine. It was $27, but I mean, if you have a family of four, that's over $100 extra
It's a
a
lot.
day. So it's like that's why this could all be kind of moot because if it's not in your budget, it's not in your budget. It's just not. And
Yeah.
everything is so expensive nowadays. Like, you kind of really do have to consider that. I don't know. And again,
Yeah.
this was kind of during the less busy season. I think the highest we saw Genie Plus get was back in December. It got up to like $39 a day per person.
Yeah.
So I'm assuming it'll be kind of similar for this system. We'll keep an eye on it. But that's like, can you imagine $40 per? That's
I
going to
think
get
so.
like really out of control
No.
expensive.
And that's again, when you start adding on the single passes too, if we had added on our Tron single passes, Tron single pass was $20 per person. So now you're talking 27 plus 20. That's, $47 per person. So
Yeah.
there's your $100 right there,
Yeah.
for two people.
Right. And now imagine, I mean, most families, right? Family of four, family of five,
Yeah.
even three, like you're really adding several $100 to your vacation. So
It's
the
a
moral
lot.
is
I
take a
mean,
Disney cruise because it's all included.
yes, take a Disney cruise,
The
honestly.
price is the price at a Disney cruise. And there's like no, like, okay, yeah, you pay for alcohol. Okay. Like
For
everything else.
merchandise or
Yeah, for
yeah,
merchandise. Like there's no hidden cost there. So I joke. It's a different experience. But I mean,
totally
like
different.
money wise, like it's crazy that these hidden costs, and like your transportation too, like that's another cost that you have to factor in as well. So
Yeah.
keep it in mind.
Yeah, for sure.
Last one. Can you purchase Lightning Lane Multipass for the length of your trip or purchase one park for the length of your trip? If so, do you get a discount? No, you have to do it day by day. Again, if you're staying on Disney property, you can do it 7 days out and you can do it for the length of your trip, but you have to go in and do it. Okay, day one. Okay, day two. Okay, day three. There's no like length of stay button that you get to press and save, discount. That would be cool.
Yeah.
But no, they haven't done that. I mean, maybe, but I don't know. I don't.
Maybe. But remember, it's per park too. So when you go in, you have to pick that park that you're starting in for the day. So if they did like a length, they would have to figure out a way to be like, okay, I'm going to this park this day,
Yeah.
this park this day, this park. That might be a little complicated on their side of it, which I
Yeah.
think is why they're making you do it individual days, because you do have to pick that starting park. And please, again, get your park pass. If you need park passes, get your park pass before you buy your lightning lanes.
Yeah.
Because that's, a big thing. But again, if you have those single day tickets or
Yeah.
per park tickets, you don't need those park passes.
Right. Yeah. Date-based tickets, you don't need it. So don't worry about
Yes.
that. But if you're an annual pass holder and you're coming down, and you have like a room only, then you got to make sure you have that park pass.
Yep. Especially again, during those busy seasons. Right now, it's pretty easy to grab. Busy season, however, those are going to go really quick. So
yeah, I've had that happen to me too, where like I either didn't have one because I didn't think of it, or the system blanked, and I was like, oh, no big deal, I'll just go make one now, and it's like, nope, there's none available, and I'm like, oh well, now what do I do? So yeah, it's bizarre again the way they do that. Some people have to worry about it, some people don't, but that's where we are at Disney World right now.
That's
folks.
the system for now.
That's the system.
We have no control over that.
No. So yeah, overall, I think you are going to probably get your money's worth more at Magic Kingdom, because there's just, it stays open later. The number of attractions are more, but in order to get your money's out of it, you need to really be up, 7 days out. You have to be on top of it. 7 days out, you need to do it right when it opens at like 7 in the morning. You need to make sure you do that. You need to be very strategic about your single pass, and do you want to risk maybe not getting that Tron virtual queue and just paying for it to be sure. I know Wish Upon a Planner, their new guide is out. You do get that for free when you book with us, so that's something to think about. And that guide is going to have the strategies and how to play it, what the best, based on the style of trip you're taking, right? Like, what's the best way to go?
Right.
Because it's such a personalized thing, right? Like, you could be like me and Jessie, where we're like, okay, we can't do it, that's fine. But some things can be really, you're here one time. You want to make sure you get on Tron. What's the best way to ensure that you get to do it? Star Wars is the most important thing to you. So how do you ensure that you get to
ride all those rides?
Mm-hmm. So definitely
Toy Story too. That's a big one.
If you haven't booked your trip with us, definitely do that. But also hop over to Wish Upon a Planner and make sure that you check out their new guide, because that's going to be a very valuable tool when you're deciding how to play this. Because again, like, we don't know what kind of trip you want to take.
Nope.
So it's definitely a very personalized system, and you're going to need to be on your phone a lot. I liked doing it at Animal Kingdom more, to be honest with you, because the stakes were so much lower. Again, even though we're local and like I have done these things a million times and there's no stress to do them, I felt the stress more at Magic Kingdom. But Animal Kingdom, I was kind of like, oh, okay, look, I can do it stuff to be a bug if I want. Like, I don't know, it just was way more relaxed.
It was much more relaxed. And the fact that it like rained in the middle of the day too, it was like, oh, the park cleared out. Look at all these things that are available. Yeah, it was nice.
So that's our take on doing it at Magic Kingdom. It was the same experience, but also very different.
Very different.
And again, we really only went in the afternoon. I think if you go in the morning, especially if you maybe take advantage of that half-hour early entry, all of the tricks that you have, the virtual queues and the single pass, you're able to get you can do it. But it's going to take a little bit of planning and being diligent in, kind of fiddle-faddling with some of that stuff.
Yeah, exactly.
But we'll see. I think the big takeaway is characters need to go back on that list.
They really do. It would help so much. I mean, and it would just make the experience more fun, that we don't have to wait an hour to see Mickey Mouse. Like, you can go and wait the 7 minutes to go meet Mickey. Who doesn't want to do that?
And it's so crazy, because you think like kids are the one, I mean, we would do it, but kids are the ones that do that, right? Little kids.
I want to go hug Mickey Mouse.
Who doesn't? Yeah, obviously. But like kids that don't like have any capacity to wait in line, like little toddler kid, like there's no way my kids at that age would have been able to wait for like a long time, so it's just such
Your kids now don't want to
a
wait for that.
no,
I don't want to wait for
it's
that.
such a bizarre choice to not include those, especially when the infrastructure is there. So I don't know.
Yeah,
We'll see.
I don't know either.
Time will tell, right? We'll find out. So well, thank you guys so much for watching. I hope we answered more of your
Yes.
questions. If you have any more, I think we've done a good job at this point, kind of covering as many bases as possible. But if you have any more questions, definitely
think
let
so
us
too.
know. We are going to try it at the other two parks just to see how it goes. And kind of, again, it was such a different experience between those two. I wonder, like, kind of the polar opposite parks. I wonder how it is kind of in the middle
Like
there.
the middle
Yeah.
parks.
So
Yeah.
we'll find out more. If you have any questions, let us know. Make sure you're following us on Instagram at We Do Travel Right, and we'll see you next time.
Yeah. Thanks, guys.
Bye.
Bye.